Hi folks, I hope you're doing great. Today I want to talk to you about this gadget right here, the Anker PowerPort 21-watt solar charger. In case you're not familiar with one of these, they allow you to charge your smartphone or other mobile devices directly off the sun, and so they are great for when you're away from a main socket, enjoying nature. I'm considering taking it along on a 2-week backpacking trip, so this video won't be a box standard review. Instead, I'm going to explore whether it is suitable for backpacking trips lasting days or weeks, and then, in case it isn't up to the task, how to hack it so that it will be.
To find out if the PowerPort is useful for backpacking trips, the first question is, how much energy is needed per day while backpacking? Let's do the math. My Samsung Galaxy S20 has a 4000 mAh battery. Assuming I go through a full charge in one day, which I can easily, then the amount of energy needed in one day is equal to the cell voltage times the battery capacity. Adjusting for some energy losses along the way, the total amount of energy needed comes up to 18.5 watt-hours. This is the amount of energy the PowerPort would have to put out during one day of hiking. To find out if the PowerPort would be able to do that, I attached it to my backpack and took it on a small hiking trip. I used my power bank to capture the energy from the PowerPort during the trip and a USB energy meter to measure the amount of energy captured. I chose a route up a local mountain called the Immenstädter Horn. It's a rather gentle mountain hike, but I stretched it to 5 hours 15 minutes. It was a glorious sunny day, and although the route took me through several patches of forest, it's unlikely the solar panels will ever see more sunlight while backpacking than they did on that hiking trip. After the trip, the USB energy meter came up to a reading of, wait for it, a measly 2.3 watt-hours, which would have added only 12% of charge to my phone. This is equivalent to the amount of energy I would use up in just 3 hours. Remember, the hiking trip took 5 hours 15 minutes. Notice anything? Even under favorable conditions with ample sunlight, this setup didn't perform, so clearly it is not sufficient for backpacking. Our mobile devices are designed to charge off a stable power supply. They don't work well with fluctuating power sources, but that's exactly what solar panels are, certainly during a hiking trip attached to someone's backpack. Solar panels produce their maximum power output when they face the sun at a direct angle without shading. When conditions aren't perfect, the power output drops significantly. And let's face it, trying to keep the solar panels perfectly aimed at the sun all the time is just about the last thing on my mind when I'm out backpacking. If the power output from a solar panel suddenly drops, a smartphone connected to it directly will often stop charging altogether, even though some power is still available. So, to compensate for that, we need a system which draws full power in full sunshine and less power when the solar panel receives less sunshine. A product such as the Solar Power Manager by a company called Waveshare does exactly that. It takes the energy from the solar panels, stores it in a rechargeable lithium-ion battery, and provides a USB port as a stable power source from which to charge, say, a smartphone. It even allows charging the battery from another USB port if one is available.
The Solar Power Manager uses a technology called MPPT, or Maximum Power Point Tracking, which basically refers to the ability of a solar charger to always capture all the energy available from solar panels, however much or little that may be. It doesn't magically create power out of nothing, but it does make sure that when solar panels produce less than their maximum power, however much is available is still utilized as best as possible.
So here's the plan. There's a little electronics box in the PowerPort with 2 USB ports. I'm going to replace that with the Solar Power Manager. Cutting open the seams on the PowerPort reveals the back of the electronics box where the leads from the solar panels enter. To access it, 4 screws need to be removed, and the leads can be liberated using a pair of snips. The leads then need to be fed through to the inside of the little storage pouch on the PowerPort and then connected to the solar input on the Solar Power Manager. Adding an extra connector in between the two is optional, but strongly recommended. As I said before, the Solar Power Manager needs a lithium-ion battery. I got this one from eBay for around €10. For backpacking, it should probably be twice the size, but for testing if this will work or not, it's fine. There is an array of small switches on the back of the Solar Power Manager. The one labeled 6 volts needs to be set to on, all the others to off. With the battery connected, the little battery switch needs to be set to on, and the setup is ready for testing. I'll save sewing the top pouch of the PowerPod back together for another time. A few dabs of hot glue will hold it together fine for now.
The key difference to the original setup is that the energy, which the PowerPod captures from the sun, is now fed into the lithium-ion battery, rather than directly into some USB device or other. The battery acts as an energy reservoir, and any device being charged from the Solar Power Manager now sees a stable power source instead of the highly variable power delivery from a solar panel. The second difference is that in the original setup, when the PowerPod generated more power than any connected USB devices could use, or if no devices were connected, the power surplus would simply have been lost, because there was no way to store it. With the hack, this energy can now be stored in the battery and used later, even long after the sun has set.
To test the hacked PowerPod, I again took it out hiking. In fact, I took it on 4 separate trips with different weather conditions for better comparison. The first trip happened in late November. It was another trip up a mountain, and there was dense fog at first, but perfect sunshine above the fog. On this trip, the hacked PowerPod delivered 139% more energy per hour than the unhacked PowerPod. The next trip happened in late December and went almost entirely through a valley, so the PowerPod saw very little direct sunlight. Even so, the energy delivery was still 26% better than the unhacked PowerPod. On the third trip, just 2 days later, there was a light layer of clouds in the sky all the time, but even so, it gave me the best result of all, with a 357% better energy delivery than unhacked. The fourth trip happened on April 1st. No joke. In the beginning, the weather was as great as can be, with some intermittent cloud coverage later on. The result of that day was almost as good as the previous trip, at 292% more energy than the unhacked PowerPod. Overall, it's safe to say that the hacked PowerPod delivers more power under unfavorable conditions than did the original setup with almost perfect sunshine. With the same perfect sunshine, the hacked PowerPod should have no difficulty at all keeping our mobile devices, which we all cannot seem to do without anymore, charged up. I'm quite pleased with this result.
By combining it with an MPPT charger and a lithium-ion battery, I have effectively turned a solar charger into a solar rechargeable power bank, and it works. But there is still room for improvement. For example, although the Solar Power Manager makes good use of variable sunlight, it will not charge the lithium-ion battery at more than about 4 watts, which means that in full sunlight, only 20% of the available solar power is actually used. Also, the USB port on the Solar Power Manager cannot provide more than 5 watts, and for reasons which are beyond the scope of this video, many modern devices will only charge at half that much. None of this stops the hacked PowerPod from being useful though, and all these issues can be remedied. I already have plans for a future video in which I will optimize the solar rechargeable power bank. That's it for this video. Thoughts, comments and suggestions are always welcome. Also, let me know in the comments section if you'd like to see videos explaining any of the technical concepts touched on in this video in more detail. And thanks for watching.